After finally being separated from Rainbow Dash, Bishop was taken into a room for a talk with Twilight Sparkle and the Doctor, as they were the only ponies in Equestria who understood what was going on most of the time. Bishop sat and listened, as Twilight Sparkle and the Doctor both explained what had happened. At first, the soldier found it difficult to believe it, but there was no other plausible explanation. He was already in another world. That's not hard to believe. So, I died? Well, theoretically, the Doctor replied, but luckily your brain was still alive as the elements of harmony were used on you. That is fascinating. I've never seen a human resurrection before. How do you feel? Like the god of thunder just kicked me in the balls. How interesting. Twilight then stepped forward, before sitting next to the obviously overwhelmed soldier. I know it must be hard for you. It must come as quite a shock to wake up in a completely different world. Are you okay? I'm fine. What's happening back on Earth? What about the war? The Doctor stepped forward. We don't know what happened after you were brought into the hospital. You see, we could only see everything from Rainbow Dash's perspective. You saw? Yes. Bishop leaned forward, putting his head in his hands, before looking back up again. I hate to ask this, but how can I go back? Twilight looked at the Doctor, and then she looked back. This time, with a guilty look on both their faces. I'm really sorry, Bishop, Twilight said. There is no way you can go home. But what? I thought... Bishop looked at the Doctor. He seemed to be the only pony who completely understood what was going on. How Rainbow Dash came into your world for the first time was completely by chance. She was lucky she wasn't thrown into an empty void in time. It was only 1 millisecond, which saved her life from spending an eternity in darkness. The second time was more technical. Because she had your journal, I was able to track you through your DNA in your journal. DNA? Yes, anyway, because you were in another world, still alive, I was able to detect your electronic brain activity to the nearest mile. Your journal was your only link between Equestria and your world. Now you're here, and there's no way to send you back. I am sorry. So, it was you who sent her? Sent her? Oh no, she was insistent. Insistent? Bishop's voice, now slowly starting to sound more agitated. You could have said no. You could have spared her having to go through all of that. It was her choice, the Doctor argued back. She clearly wanted nothing but to know if you were still alive. I'm not going to lie, it was a stupid decision allowing her to go. I said it to her before she left, but she didn't change her mind. Not for a second. She could have died. You almost did. Maybe you should be grateful she came for you when she did. Bishop stood up, walking around the room, taking a deep breath before he caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. As he stared at his new form, Twilight walked up behind him, trying to think of what to say. I can see you're upset, but it's not all bad. Princess Celestia is granting you free residence in Equestria, as well as a home for you. I'm not ungrateful. If anything, I'm happy. I just need to think. I just want to be on my own for a while. Okay. Take as long as you want. Me and the Doctor will be downstairs. I never said thank you for saving me. I don't know how to pay you back. You should talk to Rainbow, Twilight said with a smile. Without her, who knows what would have happened. Come on, Doctor. Both ponies walked out of the room, as Bishop was left alone to collect his thoughts. He sat in a chair, looking at the floor, his mind still racing with unanswered questions. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of a color from the window. Looking quickly, he caught a glimpse of Rainbow Dash, peeking around the corner. Hey there, Bishop chuckled at Dash's pointless attempt at being discreet. She flew in through the window before making her way towards the soldier, sitting by his side as he sat up. "Are you okay?" Rainbow asked. Yeah, I'm just a bit confused, though. I'm sorry." "Sorry? For what?" That you can't go back. For getting you stuck here. I guess I screwed up again." Bishop quickly used his hand to turn Dash's head to look at him in the eyes. He could see that she had not stopped crying since they were united. Her eyes were red, bloodshot, but to Bishop, they still looked adorable. "You didn't screw up, Rainbow. You saved my life. I'm glad. But I heard you. You want to go back, don't you? You're like me. You're loyal to your friends and family. Your home." Bishop took a pause, but his smile didn't stop. "I was loyal to my friends and my family, but they're gone. I have nothing left in that world. It was all destroyed by that damn war. If I'm honest, I'm glad I'm stuck here, because at least I have you. I'm not mad. I'm happy." Bishop pulled Rainbow Dash towards her before embracing her. Dash was quick to return the gesture, smiling as she closed her eyes. "Oh, I almost forgot," Rainbow Dash said, lifting her wing. Bishop watched as Rainbow Dash pulled out his journal, placing it on his lap before Bishop could thank her. She also pulled out his badge, holding it in her mouth as she looked at him. Bishop smiled, leaning forward and taking the badge out of her mouth before he held it in his palm. He looked at all the dents and scratches it had suffered in the attack, but he didn't care. After taking a quick glance at Rainbow Dash, he leaned forward again before loosening the ribbon. Dash saw what Bishop was doing, but she stayed still as the medal was put around her neck. She examined it herself. Confused, she looked at the soldier. But, why?" "I've seen many people in this war, Rainbow Dash. Some far braver than I'll ever be. After everything you went through, you deserve this more than any man I've served with. And I'm not taking no as an answer." Thank you," Dash said, completely taken by surprise. "Thank you." She embraced Bishop again as the soldier picked up his journal before looking at the cover, taking a moment to let it all sink in as he closed his eyes. Tuesday, 2 a.m. Yesterday was probably one of the most traumatic, saddening, painful, and amazing days I've had in my life. This morning, I woke up, went to work, and almost spent some quality time with Rainbow Dash. Got blasted to Kingdom Come, and then resurrected in a different world, looking 20 years younger. Someday, huh? At first, when I woke up in Equestria, I was scared, thinking I was going to wake up like a man in a wheelchair wakes up from a dream where he's running or flying. I thought it was all too true, all too good to be true, but it's really happening. It can't be a dream. I've never felt so alive. When they explained what happened, I wasn't mad, not even a little bit, because I've been given a second chance, given to me by my own little guardian angel. From now on, I will live my life, cherishing each second I have. I can look back on my life now as something to be proud of. I fought for my country, technically died, and served my duty as a soldier. It was fate which brought me here, and because of that, I have no urge to go home, even if I could. This is where my life begins, in Equestria. Captain David and Bishop. Three weeks later. It was morning in Equestria. The sun rose above the horizon as its beautiful glow shone across the landscape. Light shone through the curtains, entering the room before Bishop opened his eyes. Taking a moment for his eyes to adjust, he lifted himself from his bed, scratching his head. He took a moment to appreciate the sunrise as it bathed his skin. Standing up, he smiled as he looked around his new home, walking into the lounge before he noticed his case. He remembered the doctor explaining to him how everything was close by. How it was so also warped into Equestria? Somebody must have put it by his bedside while he was unconscious. He hadn't opened it since he packed it back into that hotel room. He kneeled down, slowly reaching out of his bag before unzipping the top. The first thing he noticed was the familiar smell of cheap hotel room soap. After emptying his bag onto the bed, he looked at all his possessions, first grabbing his wallet, blowing the dust off the surface before he opened it. Looking inside, he saw $32.16 inside. Among other items inside, he pulled out a piece of paper. It was a family photo, slightly worn out, and he felt a glimmer of sadness as he looked at his now-deceased family. Quickly, he placed the photo back before closing the wallet and throwing it to one side. Looking among his possessions, he saw a few unused bullets, then a clip. Then he noticed another object, wrapped in cloth and bulky. He slowly unraveled it before seeing that it was his pistol. He was taken aback by the firearm as it lay there before him. Knock, knock. Bishop quickly covered the pistol, picking up the bullets and throwing his possessions in his bag. He quickly walked through his house before walking up to the front door. He smiled. He knew who was waiting for him. As he opened the door, he was greeted by a flourish of colors as Rainbow Dash flew around his head. "Good morning, sleepyhead," Rainbow Dash chirped as Bishop yawned. "You're still not tired, are you?" "Nice to see you too, Dash." So what? You remember what you promised? That you'd run with me through the forest? Gotta stay in shape, right? Oh yeah. Hold on. I'll be out in a moment. Ugh. You always get up late. Anybody would think you're an owl. 2 minutes, Bish said as he closed the door. Okay. Bishop quickly ran to his wardrobe. Rarity was kind enough to sew a new wardrobe for him while his house was being built. He picked out a plain white shirt and pants before quickly getting changed. As he put his shoes on, he caught another glimpse of his wrapped-up firearm on the bed. He paused. His mind wandered before he quickly snapped out of it, and he ran over, grabbing the firearm before making sure that it was covered. As he walked out the door, hearing Rainbow's impatient tapping as he grabbed the handle. Thud! Bishop recoiled from the door before quickly opening it to see a bunch of letters raining from the sky. Bishop then saw a gray Pegasus sitting on the floor, cross-eyed, dazed, and confused. "Derpy," Dash groaned. "What are you doing here?" The gray Pegasus shook its head, looking at the mess it made. Letter from Mr. Bishop." The soldier knelt down, helping to gather the scattered letters. "Derpy, huh? You're the mail pony, right?" Derpy's eyes lit up before Bishop realized that they stayed cross-eyed. "Yep, that's me. And you're Sergeant Bishop, right?" "Yes, that's me." Derpy finally found her letter, a red envelope with a wax seal on it. Bishop took it out of her mouth before playfully stroking her mane with his free hand. The Pegasus grinned before taking off into the sky. "It's good to see you, Bishop. Got more letters to deliver." "Derpy!" Rainbow called out. "Ponyville is that way!" "Oh yeah, silly me." Derpy back in the right direction before Bishop chuckled to himself, opening the letter in his hands. "What is it?" Dash asked. Bishop pulled out a piece of paper before quickly reading the letter in his hands. "David and Bishop, as a reward for your bravery in protecting one of our residents in Ponyville in the heat of battle, I, Princess Celestia, grant you 2 VIP tickets to the up-and-coming Grand Galloping Gala, one for you and one for Rainbow Dash. Please accept these as a token of my appreciation. Without you, Equestria would have lost its element of harmony. Loyalty. Fuck. Hope to see you two there. Princess Celestia." Bishop searched in the envelope before pulling out 2 platinum tickets. As he looked at Rainbow Dash, he saw that her pupils had shrunk to the size of pinpricks. It says these tickets are for us." "Oh my gosh!" Rainbow Dash hovered up before taking a closer look at the tickets. What's the Grand Galloping Gala? Bishop asked. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! You don't know? Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. Taking a moment to control her breathing, Rainbow Dash started to giggle hysterically to herself. The Grand Galloping Gala is like one of the most amazing parties in Equestria. It's like impossible to get ordinary tickets to go, but we got platinum tickets! Dash executed a flip in the air before landing on her back, still giggling. With VIP tickets, you get free access to all the shows, behind-the-scenes access to all of the shows, dinner with Princess Celestia herself, and a personal meet with the Wonderbolts. This is so awesome! So, it's like a ball then? I don't think it's my scene. Oh, come on, you've got to go. Nobody I know has even had a platinum ticket to the gala before. Okay, I'll go. I'm sure Rarity will fix up a suit for you. Hey Dash. What? Think fast. Bishop sprinted into the distance, leaving the Pegasus behind as he ran into the woods. Hey! No fair! Quickly, Rainbow Dash darted after the soldier. Bishop laughed as he felt the wind brush against his skin. Knowing Rainbow Dash will catch up with him soon, he slowed his pace, checking his pocket to see if the weapon was still inside. You cheated, cheater! Look who's talking. You're not allowed to use your wings. Both of them ran the route of the leaves circuit, Rainbow Dash on Bishop's tail the whole time. As soon as they began to tire, as they were running up the steep hills, Bishop could feel his legs burning as he slowed down before reaching the summit. As he stopped, he heard a light thud behind him. He turned around to see Rainbow Dash lying on the ground, exhausted and gasping for air. You're too fast, Rainbow Dash gasped between breaths. Best of three? Catch your breath. I'm going to take a look at the view. Bishop slowly made his way to the edge of the cliff as Rainbow Dash watched him. He used what strength was left in his legs to sit at the edge of the gorge, looking down at the raging current below. Bishop pulled out the concealed firearm, holding it in his hands. He looked at the dents and the scratches as little flashes of his past entered his mind. He shook his head, quickly grasping the firearm in his hands before throwing it firmly into the distance. He watched as the firearm fell into its watery tomb below. It then struck some rocks before getting swept away by the current. Sighing in relief, he laid back, looking into the sky as Rainbow Dash walked up beside him, sitting on the ground, still out of breath. So, ready for rematch? Bishop laughed, slowly getting to his feet, Rainbow Dash giving him a nod before the soldier began jogging. Before he heard yet another thud behind him. He turned, this time to see Rainbow Dash in a heap on the floor, still exhausted from her last sprint. On second thought, I'll walk. You go. Bishop rolled his eyes. That Pegasus never knew when to stop. Come here, he said, kneeling next to her, scooping up the Pegasus in his arms. Dash was a little surprised, but soon calmed down as she heard Bishop's heartbeat. She laid her head against his back, closing her eyes as the soldier carried her through the cliffs and the woods under Celestia's warm glow. Monday, 8:00 a.m. 6 months ago, I was a lone soldier, fighting in the darkest and most gruesome of all battles, living each minute like it was my last, knowing that when my duty was done, I wouldn't have a home or family to go back to. Look at me now. I'm a new man. I'm younger, fitter, and I've never felt so happy. I know I keep saying it, but I've never felt so alive. Equestria is the perfect retirement for me. No worries, no more fighting, and no war. I'm still curious as to what is happening at home, but with every passing week, I find myself caring less and less. I died and went to heaven. If fate brought me here, then goddamn, I'm gonna stay here for good. Even though my future is still unclear, I'm looking forward to finding out what will happen next. But this time, with Rainbow Dash by my side. My little hero of war. Signing off for the last time. Captain David Ann Bishop. The end. Hello everyone, it's Plagan here. I thank you all for listening in and following me on this fanfic journey of awesomeness. So I decided that after every fanfic I do now, starting with this one, I'm going to do a little bit of a review over it and say what I liked and what I did not like about it, and reading it and all that stuff. As you probably have noticed during some of my readings of, in this series, I kind of stuttered a bit and stopped for random reasons, and it was because, it was unedited for that matter, and there was a lot of typographical errors and grammatical errors and all that stuff. Like, sometimes him and her would get mixed up, and I'd have to pause and think if I was reading what I was supposed to be reading. Other times there were like improper punctuation, and there wasn't enough punctuation, so I wasn't sure how to like flow the speeches together and all that stuff. But all in all, I think it was a really good story, and I'm glad that DontWakeTheNeighbor made it. He does some really good stuff, and you should check him out at the links below, both his DeviantArt page where he makes his own backgrounds, which I think's amazing. Anyone who can do that kind of stuff, it's really good. And check out his other fanfics that I have not read that are at the friendshipismagicfiction.net website down below as well. You can probably go to the link there and then go to his other thing. But I really like these kind of fan fictions, like the ones that are dark and make things seem bad. They're like tragedies and that kind of stuff that are sad. Like, I almost teared up a couple of times during the last few readings, and you may have heard it in my voice, but it was some pretty sad shit, and it's pretty goddamn good. I haven't really read anything that's made me cry, and this is the closest I've come to actually crying while I've been reading something. But yeah, so if it weren't for the like errors in the story, like reading it would have been a perfect fanfiction. But the errors kind of got it for me there. But still, DontWakeTheNeighbor, you make awesome fanfictions, and keep up the good work, man. Like, yeah, you are amazing, and you should be amazing, and you should feel amazing. But I've said but a lot in this fucking little spiel here, because I haven't really written a script. I'm just kind of talking to my microphone right now, but don't worry about that. Yeah. Long story short, I enjoyed reading this, even though it was kind of riddled with grammatical errors, but we got around that, and I am okay with it. So, thank you all for listening, or for watching, whichever you did, and I hope to see you all, or, well, at least, I hope that you all listen in on the next fanfiction that I read. I think I am going to read Shirley's Garden next, but I'm not entirely sure. I have 3 that I'm kind of trying to read here. I don't know which one I'm going to do first. So maybe Shirley's Garden, maybe something else. I don't know. We'll see. I thank you all for watching. I love you all. Yeah. Fuck, I'm real bad at ending shit. I love you all. Goodbye. See y'all later in the next video. I love you.